Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely.
Awesome. Today we're tackling the Sony A1 Mark II.
Oh, yeah, the A1 Mark II.
It's been making a lot of noise in the photography world since it dropped.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd break it down for you, see what all the fuss is about. We've poured over all the announcement stuff, tons of reviews, even some content in another language to get the full picture for you.
Yeah, it seems like Sony really took a measured approach with this one, you know?
What do you mean by measured?
Well, instead of completely reinventing the wheel,
Right.
they took the original A1,
Yeah,
which was already a beast of a camera.
it was.
And they just kind of refined and supercharged it based on feedback from photographers.
Okay, so evolution, not revolution.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the evolution is pretty darn impressive. I mean, they added a dedicated AI processing unit.
Dedicated AI. Wow. Okay, so now the camera's thinking for me.
In a way, yeah. This AI is constantly analyzing the scene, recognizing subjects, and adjusting settings. It can identify not just human eyes, but animals, birds, insects, or even vehicles.
So it's like if I'm trying to capture a bird in flight, the camera will just know exactly where to focus.
Pretty much. It's incredibly fast and accurate. And it's not just about autofocus. This AI is also helping with things like white balance, exposure,
Yeah.
and even color accuracy. It's like having a super-powered assistant making sure every shot is as good as it can be.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
I know, right? It's pretty mind-blowing. And speaking of mind-blowing, let's talk about speed. The A1 Mark II shoots a ridiculous 30 frames per second.
Wait, 30 frames per second? Seriously?
Seriously. And with zero blackout in the viewfinder.
Ooh.
So you can track those fast-moving subjects without missing a single moment.
Okay, I gotta ask though, for someone who's not shooting professional sports every weekend, is 30 frames per second really that necessary?
It's all about capturing those fleeting moments, those little details that make a photo really special. Think about it. You're photographing your dog catching a frisbee with 30 frames per second. You're not just capturing the catch, you're capturing the whole sequence, the anticipation, the leap, the joy. It's like you're freezing time.
That's a really cool way to put it. It's like having a superpower, being able to control time.
Exactly. And it's not just the frame rate. The A1 Mark II also does 120 autofocus and auto exposure calculations per second.
Whoa.
That's 4 times per shot. It's almost impossible to get a blurry or poorly exposed image, even in challenging conditions.
Okay, that is impressive. One feature I was really excited to see is that pre-capture thing they're doing.
Yes. The pre-capture, it's like capturing the moment before the moment, right?
Yes, exactly. How does that even work? Does it see into the future?
Not quite. But it does start recording a buffer of images before you even fully press the shutter button. So when you do press it, you've already got a series of frames leading up to that decisive moment.
So you never miss the shot.
Precisely. Think about those unpredictable moments like a bird taking flight, a child's fleeting expression, or even that perfect spray of water as someone jumps in a puddle.
It's like having a time machine. You can go back and choose the exact moment you want to preserve.
Exactly. And when it comes to preserving detail, the A1 Mark II doesn't disappoint. It's got a whopping 50.1 megapixel sensor.
Okay, 50 megapixels. Wow. So I could print a billboard-sized image with this thing.
Pretty much. The detail is incredible. And for those times when you need even more reach, you can shoot in APS-C mode.
Right.
Which essentially turns this full-frame camera into a high-resolution crop sensor camera as well.
So it's like having 2 cameras in one.
Exactly. It's incredibly versatile.
Okay, let's talk video for a minute. 8K? Is it just hype?
No, it's definitely not just hype. The A1 Mark II oversamples from 8.6K resolution to create stunningly detailed 8K footage. It's like watching a movie come to life right in front of you.
Okay, but I'm guessing most people aren't making movies with their cameras.
Right, of course. That's why it also shoots 4K at various frame rates. So you have plenty of options for everyday video recording. Plus, it's got advanced stabilization to keep your footage nice and smooth, even if you're shooting handheld.
That's a lifesaver. I feel like my hands are always shaking a little bit.
I hear you. And the A1 Mark II goes beyond just capturing amazing images and videos. It's also designed for a smooth and efficient workflow.
Ooh, workflow is key. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's got this new dedicated microphone with voice-to-text capability.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. So you can add voice memos to your images right in the camera. Plus, it's got a blazing fast wired LAN connection and the ability to transfer images directly to platforms like Lightroom and Google Drive.
So it's not just about capturing those amazing moments, but also getting them out into the world quickly and easily.
Exactly. Sony clearly understands that workflow is just as important as image quality for today's photographers.
They definitely did their homework on this one.
They did. And you know what else is cool? The A1 Mark II isn't just about impressive tech specs. It's also incredibly comfortable to use.
Ah, ergonomics. So important.
It is. They've improved the ergonomics based on the Sony A9 Mark III.
Okay.
They've added a 4-axis tilting LCD screen,
Yeah.
which everyone loves, and it even comes with both standard and squishy eye cups.
Squishy eye cups. What
Yeah.
are those? Like little pillows for your eyes?
Pretty much. It's all about finding the perfect fit and comfort for you. They really
Oh.
thought of everything.
It sounds like they did. Okay,
Yeah.
last question before we move on. We've talked about all these amazing features, but let's be real for a second. This thing's got to be expensive, right?
It is. The A1 Mark II is priced at US $6,500.
Okay, so it's an investment.
It is. But for those who demand the absolute best in terms of performance and features, it might be worth every penny.
It sounds like it.
It's a game changer.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground already. This A1 Mark II is a real powerhouse.
It really is.
Okay, well, in the next part, let's dive a bit deeper into who this camera is for.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Stay with us. Okay, so we've established that the Sony A1 Mark II is a seriously impressive piece of kit.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But who's it really for? Is this a camera that only pros are going to benefit from?
Well, I think anyone who's truly passionate about photography can find something to love about this camera.
Okay, I like that. So break it down for me. Who are those people?
Well, for starters, wildlife photographers are going to absolutely drool over this thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, the AI-powered autofocus is insane. It can track those fast-moving creatures, even tiny insects, with incredible precision.
No more blurry birds.
Exactly. And it's not just wildlife. Think about sports photography. You've got athletes moving at lightning speed, unpredictable action happening all over the place.
Right.
With the A1 Mark II's 30 frames per second and blackout-free viewfinder, you're going to capture every single moment in crystal clear detail.
So I could finally get that perfect shot of my kid scoring the winning goal.
Mm.
No more blurry messes.
Exactly. And let's not forget portrait photographers.
Right.
The A1 Mark II has this feature called human pose estimation. Have you heard about that?
Human pose estimation. It sounds kind of sci-fi. What does it even do?
It basically analyzes the person's pose
Okay.
and makes sure that the focus is always tack sharp on their eyes, even if they're moving or looking away from the camera.
So even if I'm shooting a portrait with someone wearing sunglasses, I can still get perfect focus on their eyes.
Yep. It's pretty amazing. It gives portrait photographers so much more freedom to experiment and be creative.
Right, because they don't have to worry so much about the technical stuff.
Exactly. They can focus on things like composition, lighting, and really connecting with their subject.
Okay, what about landscape photographers?
Landscape photographers are going to love the dynamic range and resolution of this camera.
Wait.
They can capture these vast, sweeping scenes with incredible detail. Every little nuance in the highlights and shadows is preserved.
So those epic sunsets with all the colors and details, they won't be a problem for the A1 Mark II.
Not at all. And those high-resolution files give them so much flexibility in post-processing. They can crop in on specific areas without losing any quality.
Okay, so it's sounding like this camera's pretty much perfect for every type of photography.
It really is a versatile tool. I mean, think about photojournalists. They often have to work in really challenging conditions.
Yeah.
Unpredictable situations. You need a camera that's fast, reliable, and can handle anything you throw at it.
So the A1 Mark II can handle the pressure.
Absolutely. And it's got those advanced connectivity features,
Yeah.
so they can get their images out to the world quickly and easily.
Right, that's crucial for photojournalists.
It is. And of course, we can't forget about videographers.
Oh yeah, of course.
The A1 Mark II isn't just a stills camera, it's a video powerhouse, too. 8K recording, advanced stabilization, support for pro-level codecs. It's got it all.
Wow, so whether you're shooting a documentary, a short film, or just capturing family memories, this camera can do it all.
Pretty much, yeah. It really is a versatile tool. And I think it's important to remember that a camera like this isn't just about the tech specs.
What do you mean?
Well, it's about the stories you can tell with it, the memories you can preserve, the connections you can make with people.
It's about more than just taking pretty pictures.
Exactly. It's about using technology to capture and share something meaningful.
Okay, that's a great point.
Yeah,
We've talked a lot about the creative possibilities, but I want to be realistic here.
sure.
This camera is a serious investment.
It is.
US $6,500. So who do you think is really going to shell out that kind of money for the A1 Mark II?
Well, I think it's for anyone who's truly serious about their photography. Someone who demands the very best in terms of performance, quality, and features.
Someone who sees photography as more than just a hobby.
Exactly. It's an investment in their passion.
I like that.
And, even though it's a professional-grade camera, I don't think it's just for professionals. No. I think any enthusiast who's willing to make that investment can benefit from the A1 Mark II.
It's like if you're serious about taking your photography to the next level, this camera can help you get there.
Precisely. It's like having a secret weapon in your arsenal.
Okay, so the original A1 was already a groundbreaking camera. What does the Mark II do that really sets it apart? What makes it worth the upgrade?
It's all about the refinements and enhancements. They've taken what was already great about the A1 and made it even better.
Give me some examples.
Well, the dedicated AI processing unit is a game changer. It's like having a super intelligent assistant built right into the camera, helping you get the best possible shot every time.
It's like the camera's thinking for you.
Exactly. And the video capabilities are on another level, too. 8K recording, advanced stabilization, support for pro-level codecs. They've really pushed the boundaries with this one.
It sounds like they've thought of everything.
They have, and they haven't forgotten about the little things either. Improved ergonomics, a better LCD screen, faster connectivity. It's all there.
Wow, I'm seriously impressed. It sounds like the Sony A1 Mark II is the ultimate camera for anyone who's serious about pushing their creative boundaries.
It is. It's a technological marvel.
But it's more than just technology, right? It's about what you can do with it. The stories you can tell, the connections you can make.
Exactly. It's a tool that can empower you to create something truly special.
Listening to you talk about this camera makes me want to go out and shoot something right now.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It is. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the technical stuff. In the next part, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture. How does a camera like this impact the way we tell stories and connect with the world around us?
I like it. Let's dive in.
All right, so we've geeked out over the Sony A1 Mark II's features. We've talked about who it's for.
We sure have.
But now I want to step back a bit.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
I like it.
Like, how does a camera like this, with all its power and technology, actually change the way we tell stories?
That's a really interesting question.
It is, right. It makes you think about how camera technology and storytelling have kind of evolved together.
Yeah, they really have. Think about it. Early cameras were these big, bulky things.
Oh, yeah.
Difficult to use. And they capture these very static moments in time, almost like paintings.
Right, like those old-timey portraits where everyone looks super stiff and serious.
Exactly. And back then, stories were mostly shared orally, passed down through generations, relying on language and shared experiences to bring them to life.
It's amazing how much things have changed.
It is. As technology progressed, cameras became smaller, more portable, easier to use. Photography became more accessible to everyday people, and that really changed the way stories were told.
It democratized storytelling, gave more people a voice.
Exactly. And then with the arrival of digital cameras and the internet, boom, the whole world of visual storytelling exploded.
Right. Now anyone with a smartphone can capture a moment. Share it with the world instantly. It's incredible.
It really is. And I think the A1 Mark II, with all its capabilities, is a perfect example of where we are now. It's a camera designed for the modern storyteller, someone who wants to capture the world in all its detail and share those stories effortlessly.
Yeah, it's like the A1 Mark II is a tool that can bridge that gap between the moment and the audience.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool for communication.
It is. But sometimes I wonder, with all this amazing technology, are we losing something? Like, is there a risk of becoming too reliant on the tech and forgetting about the art of photography?
That's a good point. It's a balance, right?
Right.
We have to remember the fundamentals. Composition, lighting, the story you're trying to tell. But I think technology can also help us with those things. It can free us up to be more creative.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between technology and artistry.
Exactly. The A1 Mark II, for example, it can do all sorts of amazing things automatically. Adjust settings, track subjects, even make sure everything's in focus. But it's still up to the photographer to make those creative decisions, to frame the shot, to tell the story.
It's like having a co-pilot. But the photographer is still the pilot in command.
Exactly. It's a partnership between human and machine.
Well said. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty tech specs to the philosophical side of photography.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Any final thoughts for our listeners out there?
I would just encourage them to embrace the incredible tools that we have available to us today, but to never forget the heart of photography, capturing moments that matter, telling stories that move us, connecting with the world around us.
Beautifully said. The Sony A1 Mark II is a remarkable camera, but it's just a tool. It's up to each of us to use it to create something truly special.
I completely agree.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
It really does. If you want all the details on the A1 Mark II, head over to the official Sony website. They've got tons of info there. And until next time, keep shooting.
Keep creating.
And keep exploring the world through your lens.
See you next time.